everyone, it's Jessie. In today's video, I am going to be talking to you about my new kind of all-time favorite book. I know that is kind of a huge statement to say that it's now my all-time favorite book, but it might truly be now one of my all-time favorite books, like in the top 2. I don't know. It's really hard for me to narrow down like my all-time favorite books because there's so many books that I love. This book was absolutely freaking incredible. By far the best book of 2016 that I have read in the year of 2016. So yeah, without further ado, my favorite book of 2016 and might possibly quite be my favorite book of all time is The Nightingale by Kristen Hannaah. This book is an adult World War II historical fiction novel. It follows along these two sisters named Isabel and Vianne. The story begins at the beginning of World War II and follows until the very end of the war. Throughout the story, there is kind of this alternating point of view. It starts off, hold on, I have to check if it actually starts off. Yeah, it starts off in Oregon in April in 1995. And you don't know who the person that is talking until the very end. And this chapter that takes place in Oregon in 1955 only shows up about 3-4 times, very few and very quick chapters throughout the book. And the whole time these future chapters are happening, you don't know who it is and you don't find out to the end. So I thought that was a really cool aspect of this story. Following along these two sisters, they are very completely different polar opposites. They had a father who they never really got to know, who never loved them because their father fought in the previous war, and once his wife died, he turned to alcohol and didn't really know how to take care of or love for his daughters when he was so lost within himself. So that being said, having that huge family impact on both Vianne and Isabel, it's interesting to see how they both turn out. They both also have a huge age gap between them. So throughout the story, we follow Isabel, who is more this rebellious feminist, wants to fight and help in the war kind of girl. And then we have her sister Vianne, who married her sweetheart when she was 15 and tried a few times to have children until she finally had her daughter Sophie. Both of the sisters are very different. We have Vianne, who just wants everything to go back to normal in the war, and she's willing to follow any and all rules in order to protect her daughter and her family. And her husband Antoine is off fighting in the war, and she finds out that she's captured, and she's hoping and praying that he will come home safe. And then we have Isabel, who gets into quite some troublesome activities that Vianne doesn't want any part of because she knows that if Isabel were to get caught, obviously they would probably be killed by the Germans or worse, and you know what happened during World War II. I'm not going to tell you. This story completely and utterly, like, I'm almost tearing up starting to talk about it because it was such a touching and amazing story. I haven't read a World War II novel in a long time, and my dad recommended this one to me and it took his breath away, and it definitely took my breath away. It has some of the best character development I've ever seen. Isabel, who really reminds me an awful lot of Evie from the Diviner series by Libba Bray. She's somebody who I would want to be friends with. She's a very strong-witted, really seriously believes what she believes in. But then there was Vianne, who was the quiet and calm type, and you can definitely see the growth and character development through her character and everything that both of the sisters go through in this war. It's so attached to every character, and there are deaths because that's life, and stuff really happened in World War II. I'm not saying that these characters are real because most of the places and characters in this novel are made up and fictional due to it being a historical fiction novel, but reading it feels so real to me, and I'm gonna cry. I don't even have words to describe this book because it's so good. Sorry, I took a break because thinking about the book overwhelmed me and I started to cry, and you can see it in my eyes. This book. So there are romances in this novel, but believe me when I say that is not what this book is about, despite the fact that you will be waiting for those romances and rooting for some of them. Some of them may be twisted in your head. If you read the book, you might know what I'm talking about. Captain. Love and romance is solely not what this book is about. It's about the women in wartime and the strong things that some of them did in order to save people during the war, and the possible incredible tasks that some of these women did that did not get quite the light shown on them as the men. Now, I'm not going to go back into telling you too much about the story because when I went into this book, all I knew about it was that it was a World War II historical fiction novel. I did not know a single thing about this book. I did not know what I was getting myself into, though I did know it was about World War II, and obviously that is a greatly, greatly depressing, sad war. Definitely has its moments where I cried. I think I cried a total of 2 to 3 times. I didn't fully cry, but it definitely touched my heart. It touched my heart deeply. And I think that books like this are so important, even if it's historical fiction, to show what true events in the war happened so we can prevent anything like the Holocaust from happening again, because it's such a dark time in our history. And I just think that this book was so beautifully written, and the cast of characters are so diverse and puzzled together perfectly to me. And the way that the story wrapped up was fulfilling. I was content with the ending, and I think it was just so perfect. I just thoroughly hope that you guys can understand my jumbled thoughts upon this book right now, because I did not write anything down. I finished this book not yesterday, but the night before, so my thoughts are still fresh in my mind, but jumbled because this book is just so overwhelmingly great to me, and I think everybody should read it. Back into more of my thoughts. One thing that was really touching was the children in wartime and how that shone a light on how some of them were faced to live through this war and how dramatically it changed. Thousands upon millions of lives. What these children went through and how they come back from that, if they survived, greatly blows my mind. There's a character named Ari, who you will read about in the book, whose name changes. I don't really even want to talk about that part because I think you have to read the book because I don't want to spoil it. Thinking from having a child at 2 years old, changing identity and being this person for so long, and having that being taken away again, and being taken away from the family he grew up with and knew, and being transported to a different family just because it's blood. I cried so hard. Oh my, I'm gonna cry right now. I'm gonna cry. This book is so good. Every time I start filming, I start crying. In the silence between them, she heard a frog croak and the leaves fluttering in a jasmine-scented breeze above their heads. A nightingale sang a sad and lonely song. I know that no work of literature and no book is near perfect. I've read reviews about this book. Some people have said some parts could have been shortened and cut out. Some words were too American and wouldn't have been used by the French. To me, this book was pretty damn near perfect, and I think I wouldn't change anything about it. Now, I feel like every book I read from here on out is gonna pale in comparison, and the book I'm reading next is actually another World War II book, because after reading this book, I'm having withdrawals. I almost want to go back and read The Nightingale again. So, my camera died. I'm back for the 4th time. So many clips to this video. Anyways, the book I am currently reading next is this one right here, Everyone Brave is Forgiven by Chris Cleave. This is just the dust jacket because the book's downstairs. I'm hoping that I will like it and that it's a good book. I've heard amazing things about it and I'm really liking it so far. So all is well, and there is a dog behind me. Hi, Champ. I feel like while I'm going to be editing this, I'm gonna hate myself so much for not having my thoughts together for this review, just because this book like me and tore me apart so much. I feel like future Jessica, if she comes back and watches this review, she's gonna be so mad at herself. I'm sorry, I apologize. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. If you have any video recommendations, be sure to comment them down below. If you've read The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah, be sure to comment down below your thoughts on this book, because I know I didn't say everything that's in my head. I didn't say everything I wanted to say about this book. I might do a live show or something on it in the future to talk more about it, because My head's not all here today. It's 2016. I gotta film this review in 2017, so it's better. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! All I gotta say is read this book right now and do yourself a favor. Sass. I don't know if it's just me who read the book, but I pictured Vienne as a brunette woman, but when I read the end of the book and she said that she had strawberry blonde hair, I'm like, oh my god, I'm Vienne! Cosplay time! Gotta go to France to do that, so it makes sense, but soon. I literally wrote down almost every single place that was mentioned in this book and did research on whether or not it was fictional or not. And there are some real places mentioned in this book, and I am planning my trip to go to every place that I can in this novel with my dad because he loves this book too, and I'm so excited. Too excited. But I love this book so much.